What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Huddle, the number one podcast in flooring. We're here every single week to help you guys gain forward progress in your career. Simply put, we're here to help you win. For all our new viewers, welcome to the team.
Welcome,
What's
everybody.
what's up, Mr. Daniel?
How's it going?
Looks like Jose got in there on the mobile
Can
device and got worked through
you hear
some
me okay?
technology things. Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Jeez.
Well, I'm glad to have both you on, and you guys, I hope, have had a great week. And how the you guys were solo artists last week? The trio was not together.
It's just missing one small piece, right?
Yeah, just
One small
I
piece that's
mean,
pretty major. No big deal. No big deal.
we're all major pieces. I
Yeah.
just you guys always do so good. I just seeing
Just
how the
wanted to lay
podcast.
back and let us just roll, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Just
I
sat
still got
back
to
and
watch.
watched.
I still got to watch last week's episode. In
It went pretty
fact,
well.
sweet. Well, guys, today is a wonderful Tuesday. Our topic today is from the field to the boardroom, leading when you've done the work. Really talking, I think, about there's a lot of opportunity once you decide to kind of climb off your knees, whether that's starting your own flooring store, joining a flooring store as a salesman. We'll talk about a lot of different paths, but we know some old installers that end up being vice presidents at mills and all kinds of stuff. So just wanted to kind of explore the world of what's beyond the world of installation once you kind of have made your mark there. Today's sponsors, we are solo at Trade Tap and the VTI. If you haven't done so yet, go check out trade-tap.com. And that's the new website up and running. Jumpstart, which you guys should all be excited about as installers, where we're going to be putting all the new helpers out of the FCEF and other college programs. I should just say college programs. They're available for you to hire, and that'll be coming down the pipe. But Trade Tap is up and running and live. The VTI, go get your VTI, is up and available for new profiles. And then we just released Trade Tap Pro this week, which is the old Go Carrera marketplace platform. So go check that out as well if you're a VTI guy and you want to explore some workout in the world. That's your place to do so. That's going to start getting used a lot more. Um, the only thing that we're really not doing is taking on any more company clients at the moment. That'll be another month away before we add any future company clients. But right now we're growing the VTI. Lots of great activity there. So thanks everybody for your support. Please reach out to me directly, Paul at trade-tap.com. If you have any questions, I will be scheduling a demo to kind of show you guys this, and I am gonna hopefully talk my two co-hosts into doing changing out one of our podcast weeks
Done.
with a quick
Done.
webinar week, where I might be able to show you a lot of the good stuff. So that being said, back on topic. Um, from the field to the boardroom. So you guys know a lot of guys in the rep world, and um, whether it's technical reps, sales reps, as such. How many percentage would you guess are past installers?
A good percentage these days. It didn't always used to be like that, but I'm glad to see that it's going that way because it's like we always talk about that progression from installer to what are you doing when, I guess, when you can't do it anymore or
Mhm.
when you're over it, right? You only got so many miles on your knee. So what are you going to do after that? So I'm glad to see that, that percentage has gone up these past few years. And on the flip side, I don't know how many there used to be, right? But it is getting up there to where, you know, we're talking to people and it's always they used to be an installer.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I've noticed that. So like if I'm looking at local distributors, a lot of our local distribution reps um, might not be ex installers, but a lot of the national reps, they cover more region and that are more technical side and do they're more ex installers. Not saying everybody, I'm just saying that that's what I've noticed.
Yeah, you know, the
So
tech rep has always been pretty well represented by installation. Um, the Let me answer Jose's question. Is this not live on YouTube? No, we're not live on YouTube, but it will go to YouTube when we're done. We're live on Facebook, Instagram. I think
Um,
maybe what else we live on, Daniel? Are we live on TikTok as well? Are we able to?
no, Twitch, LinkedIn,
Twitch,
but typically you'll
LinkedIn.
go to the preferred flooring YouTube. But it's not letting me do anything. I'm actually gonna sign back in real quick, so I'll be right back.
All right, so Daniel's going to sign back in and try to get get that going for you there, Jose.
yep,
But the technical reps have always there's always seemed to be a pretty good representation of ex installers in there. But I agree. I've seen a lot more sales reps and territory reps and things like that that are past installers. And you know, like your brother said, I think it's pretty encouraging. But the point of this podcast is to point out like the best of the best installers are typically the guys that get these jobs. The ones who've made a name for himself in installation are usually the ones that get these jobs. So that's just more of a reason for you to present yourself professionally. To if you want a more of a desk job or a coordinator or a manager or a leadership job at one of the mills or one of those things, that's where they definitely are going for the cream of the crop. So just another reason to do what we always tell you here on the podcast. Be professional, have a great attitude. You know, go to every training and certification you can get to, and become one of those guys that can be, snagged up by a Mohawk Shaw, Interface, Milliken, one of these large companies, and there's 100 distributors on top of that that would probably hire as well. So
yeah.
it's a great
Well,
outlet.
product knowledge is huge, right? And not only uh, that by itself, but you mix product knowledge with a little bit of hands-on experience or a lot of hands-on experience, and you can relate to a lot more than just one crowd.
Well, I
Installers seem
think
to
the
resonate.
manufacturer, yeah, I'm sorry I interrupted. I was still in your
No,
flame right there
you're
because that's
good.
exactly what I was going to say was
Yeah, yeah. Go on with it,
manufacturers.
brother. I'm driving, so I appreciate it. And I'm sorry for joining via mobile today, but I had a couple issues at home with my garage door, and I had to make it to the place before it closed. So, but yeah, carry on with that,
No,
what you were
I
going
was
to
just
say.
going to say the same thing you were leading into, which is that manufacturers seem to be taking recognition of the fact that uh, the ex installer relates to the guys that he's supporting and repping to the installation folks a lot better than just somebody who's never touched a piece of flooring. So it's one of those things where I think they're starting to see the value of hiring ex installers, but that doesn't mean you can be just a scrub. You got to be a good credentialized ex installer, and I think that's a really great outlet if you're wanting to go that way. There's many other, like we touched on earlier, tech reps, which is out working with the field guys, a lot of job starts, that kind of stuff. If I was if I was redoing my career, I would that's one of the fields I would love, is going out and helping guys get job starts. You know, Shernox is known for this kind of thing, and that would be a fun job for me. Um, Another path that all three of us have taken is we went out and started our flooring companies. Um, I know many who joined flooring companies. Some of our project managers are ex-installers here. So, you know, both of you guys being installers yourselves, what do you think about hiring, a seasoned vet into your office and teaching them the ins and outs of the desk?
It's hard.
Go ahead, D.
It is hard because even we had a really hard time to begin with. It's just a different pace of it's totally different. Because I will always say that, in the field, we just go out there and you do the work. You don't have to think about it. When you're in the office, it's using your brain 100% of the time. It's like, and since we didn't have that any like formal training on the business side of things or on the leadership side of things, it's it's a constant learning thing, right? Where we tell people to do it in the field all the time, but that carries over even more so when you're on the other side of things because you're not just looking at the installation anymore. You're looking at, from the sales all the way through the installation and making
Well, and
sure
you
that
got
you're
all
not
those
missing
things
anything.
you got all those things you're trying to juggle, right? You got to make profit. That's one ball. You got to get the job.
Yeah.
You got to keep your crews
Well,
happy. So
it,
you're caring about others during this whole thing. You're trying to make sure that your crews are set up and they're happy doing work. They're enjoying working with you as the store. And there's a lot more concerns of getting equipment out to job sites and materials picked up and legit. You just go into logistics, accounting, leadership, all these things when you step into the office, but that's not to scare you guys away. What I'm telling you, and I think Daniel's telling you, is be prepared for a big shift change in your mindset and
yeah,
the way you use your body. It's a different type of exhaustion, and
it is.
I
That's
want you
what I was
guys to
going to
tell me
add.
about this.
So,
What's the difference in exhaustion between a long day out in the field and a long day in the office?
but you can work in the field all day and be physically dead tired, but go home and still have the mental capacity to have conversations and to look at do some reading, watch a movie, right, and not worry about that mental overload.
Your
I will
neural
say that
network is still available.
it's still available, dude. Like right, and then like you could be physically exhausted, but then because that network is still available, you can go play a couple of softball games, go shoot some pool, go play some cornhole, whatever it is you do for hobbies, whatnot, and you'll still be all right. But once you hit that mental overload, that your social battery is been overloaded, you want nothing to do with thinking, talking. Like it's a different kind of workout. And I used to make fun of like the ways that people are like, oh, you got to give these kids something to read, something to think about, so they reach exhaustion and then they won't be so hyper. Or the same thing with dogs. Give them this peanut butter ball so they reach exhaustion. It's like, how does that reach? It's the trying to figure things out. It's just a different type of roller coaster that you're going to be on, and you really do need to prepare yourself for something totally different. Um, I
Yeah,
used to
that
make fun
meant
of office people. The suits, right? I used to make fun of suits. Oh, you just sit at a desk all day. Ah, that's what you do. I used to say that.
it's
Now I'm
the
like,
classic field versus office
yeah,
dynamic that once in a while we'll bring guys in from the field, uh, not electively so much, but invariably somebody gets has an illness or gets. We've had one of our long-term guys, his knee wore out, just over 20 years of installing, and had to have knee replacement, and so he came into the office for the 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It wasn't a full knee replacement. He had to have some a surgery on his knee, but he was out for like 4 weeks, I think, and so he was in the office for 4 weeks. Another guy, similar scenario, but it wasn't in it, neither one of them are actual injuries. It's just like they've been in the business a long time. 10 of those years have been with us, so we support them obviously. 10 plus years. So, but we had them in the office and teaching them how to read blueprints off of a on screen and how the on screen takeoffs work and how that migrates over to your ERP system and all these things. And it's incredible the um, doing that, the gratitude that they have, the same gratitude we feel as ex installers for our installers who are out there grinding, doing the work for us every day. They reciprocated that after 3 or 4 weeks in the office. I mean, Norby in particular, he's like, I'm ready to get back out and work.
And that's exactly
you,
how it feels.
Yeah.
Like
you mean I have to read how much? I got to read all that. What am I looking for? It's like,
Shoot, man. I
oh,
tell you what, there's days I, you know, if I hear of a problem out in the field, there's days I'm like, I'm gone. I'm leaving I go out there and I just help the guys out. I'll do some welding, do something. Uh, because I need that like mental break to do something that my I have muscle memory and kind of comes natural at this point, and I can just enjoy doing. And I still miss one of the things I miss the most about installing is standing back after I was done with something and being like, man, that looks good. Like it
I
just
did that. I did
yeah,
that.
it's finished, and now the building is finished, and look at this. That feeling, I don't know how to describe it. That's probably a really crappy description, but
This
that's
is how
how
we
I
describe
feel.
it. This is how we used to describe it. Who did that? I did that. Why I do that? Because that's what I do.
Was that yours, Daniel, or is that your brother's?
that was a guy Nick that works with us.
Yeah,
He's the one that started that.
He
he is the
coined
one
it.
that started it.
All right,
Yeah,
kudos to
and
Nick. That's a good one.
Tanya's texting me instead of commenting, probably because she's at work. But she says, "Yeah, Daniel, what's the difference between office tired and physical tired?" Because I gave her crap before when I was in the field, and then she'd come home, like we'd come home, and she'd be like, "Oh, I'm so tired." And be like, "What did you do all day?" And then I started, in the office, and then I'll be honest, I was like, I didn't realize how different it was until you do it all day long, right? Because before it's just, all right, I'll get home, I'll shoot out some invoices, and it wasn't to the capacity it is now. But now it's like, man, it's just so overwhelming sometimes, especially when there's so much out there, but not enough time in the day to get everything done.
Yeah, yeah. We're definitely overloaded trying to maintain a solid schedule and create a backlog, right? Because it's so hard to keep
Yeah.
up with everything. If we're still a small crew, right? Like me and Daniel are still the guys doing a lot in the office, trying to get out, do the measures, and go do all of our things and come in. Like that's what they don't tell you about, right? You know what's got to be done, but you don't know what's got to be done until you're the one trying to do it all. But if anybody is getting ready to take that jump, build a team around you. Do what you can to build a team around you. I promise you won't be mad at yourself
And join
unless
a
it's the
great
wrong team
company if you don't want to go
or that too.
start yourself off brand new. I mean, I'll tell you what, that that's a toughie. Find somebody who's retiring and go buy them out and take it over. But I'll tell you this, the other part that I found kind of, I won't say tough, it was just new to me, was out in the field. I had responsibility of 2 to 4 guys, like keeping them, and they're right next to you. So the morale was kind of directly within your purview and you're somewhat within your control. when you get in the office and then you grow into a bigger company, you lose touch with the guys in the field. Sometimes you'll lose touch with different employees as you get bigger. And I mean that daily touch, not that like I don't talk to them, but you just lose that daily touch. And keeping morale up when you're not there, like influencing the morale on any given basis, that's a whole new like dynamic to moving from the field to the office. And I would imagine it's that feeling that you're responsible for others. I'd imagine that that also carries over when you're a tech rep doing job
Yeah,
starts and stuff because
it,
someone
it,
else's business is relying on you as a tech rep to make sure that they do a good job and do it right. I wanted to point out that our our uh, elder of the day, Mr. Rollin, he said straight up the long day in the office by far wipes him out more than a long day in the field. And
yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
I would say a long day in the field, you might catch me not being able to walk for a couple of days afterwards. But a long day in the office, you'll catch me coming home and just crashing within 30 minutes of getting home.
Yeah, the worst part of
Like,
that is like not I don't want to have conversation with sometimes I've got to force myself to have conversation with kids and things that like I'm done.
oh
I'm
yeah,
almost feel like I'm done talking. I'm done thinking. I just want my brain to go in some neutral zone of relaxation. That feeling is harder to, for me anyway, hard has been harder to overcome than the feeling of getting home after a long day working out in the field installing. I got home and that it wasn't the same. Like, you know, in fact, I didn't talk to very many people, maybe a superintendent here or there, and communicating with your crews, that kind of comes second nature. So like you other than that you're installing floors. Yeah, some days you'd have some technical real problems on the job that you had to figure out. And of course those are tougher days, but in general, um, what you'll experience is just this mental thing. And one of our guys, Sean, went from being an installer to being installation manager to being a project manager. So he's climbed the ranks at our company. And I'll tell you one of the things that he really thinks about in that transition was all the stuff he had to learn. But then once he learned it, he found that came started becoming second nature, almost like installation. But never one thing that just never seems to be any way of um, I don't know how to say it, like it's not systematized or easy, is dealing with the actual coordination, logistics, super, all the people involved in a given project and coordinating all that and making sure all the stuff happens in a way that gets the project done on time and in a good manner. That's been one of the things that, new stuff that he had to learn, but you never get to the point where it doesn't require like your brain firing off hard trying to figure out some of these things.
Yeah, Jose says that a long day in the field, gets fixed with good sleep. A hard mental day has you up at 3 a.m. to
Yeah,
just to drink some water. Like,
that is a great point. That's a
so
great point.
Jorge says he normally has both long day in the field in the daytime, then office mode after work to like 9 p.m. and later sometimes. And I think
That's where we
that's,
all kind of got going, I think.
yeah. And
yeah.
we all did it to ourselves, though, right?
Well,
It's
we
something
didn't.
that,
I didn't know any better. I don't think you guys knew any better. I did get kind of lucky. You guys went into business together. My partner when I first started was a project manager at the company we both worked for. So he had some office knowledge, and so I was able to lean on him a little bit heavier than just figuring everything out for myself. Um, but you're often working all day and still going home, and either I was doing takeoffs a lot. He handled the accounting and that kind of invoicing and that kind of stuff. But man, I would go home and do it. I this back in the manual days, I have a set of drawings in my little backpack with scaled rulers and roller wheels and all the stuff, and I'd lay it out on the table and do a takeoff at
I
home.
still like doing that.
Yeah,
I
it's still
I
there. I
do.
haven't done it in a long time, except for when I'm out in the field and got to get a pull a measurement off something for a pattern or something. But
So, if you guys don't mind, I'm parked now, so now I can backtrack and concentrate a little bit. I want to back up to a part in the conversation where you said you're moving up and you lose contact with some of the crew and all that, right? I want to bring up a point that one of our guys had mentioned to us. I don't know, probably 6 months ago, a year ago, maybe, where he said things aren't the same when we're not in the field. He worked with us when we were in the field full time, and then left for a while, came back, and now obviously we're not in the field full time, right? And he said it's just different. Like we didn't do things the way things are getting done now. He's like, you guys were like, got to do this, got to do it, and everything went really smooth. And it's just, he was like, it just nobody works like that. I'm like, when nobody works, doesn't matter where you go, nobody works like the owner. Nobody ever does.
hmm
It's just, when the guy who writes the check is working next to you, everybody seems to work a little bit differently. When the guy who writes the check is in the office and trusts everyone to do their job, it's just there's a little bit
those are
more.
those growing pains, right? Those are just
Yeah,
normal
yeah.
growing pains. Yeah.
And he
And I
and
think
he
that's
has
kind
just
of one of the biggest things like to talk about, right? It's being able to look at things and know that they're not going to go the exact same way, but realize that if you don't take yourself out of that equation, you're not going to be able to do what you need to do in the office too.
yeah, um, very very hard transition. I got kind of booted because of some physical issues right going on, and got booted from the field. And like, hey, you're in the office now. I'm like, it's like showing up to the office first day, nobody's there, just me. Like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Um, just hop on the phone, man. Like, I didn't have no plan. I just everything that I was doing in the field that was causing me not to be productive as an installer. I just started doing that full time and then realizing we're missing a lot of things, missing this, missing that. Uh, it was frustrating, guys. It was frustrating at first. I mean, it's still frustrating now, but a different kind.
Yeah. Well, there's always going to be struggles no matter which way you go. So this is what number two we've talked, well, maybe number three. We talked about going to work as a sales rep, uh, going to work as a tech rep for one of the mills. These kinds of things, one of the manufacturers. Additionally, we talked about either going to work in the office for a flooring company or starting your own flooring company. But another path. Well, actually, what what I would think is kind of a natural path are the first two, right? Being a sales rep. This is a little bit outside the comfort zone as a company, but another natural path is training. Training is going to continue to take an uptick. It's already been taking an uptick. I think that it's going to continue to take an uptick where more trainers are going to be needed to be able to keep pace with all the different training events that will be happening over time. There's a lot of uh, activity at the colleges. You can get on Facebook right now. I think that there's guys doing FCEF programs right now. Like they're going to continue to need trainers, as is NAFCT and CFI. And so make sure you reach out to these entities if you've been certified and highly trained by one of the training organizations. You got a pretty good chance of being a trainer if you go through one of their train the trainer programs, or most of them have some type of a curriculum to get you prepared to be a trainer. But that would be the second, and Daniel, you do this, which is my segue here. Um, that would be another one that I would really enjoy. Um, I went to a training event last week that was held here in Wichita and just chatted with some of these high school aged or young college age students, and I I don't know, it's fun to do. I'm sure that the guys who are there doing the training enjoy it. I always hear good things, but thought I'd kick the ball over to you, Daniel, and you, Jose, on that one. Training as a being a trainer for one of the organizations as an outlet, even if you start kind of part time or you're still doing your bit you're an install or you're still doing something, but you're also a trainer.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look into any leadership book, listen to it, read it, everything always falls back to you become a good leader when you can create other good leaders, right? And that's essentially where we're starting at with the training, especially once you start looking at high school. It's we're starting these kids off on the right foot when it's something that we could have utilized way back in the day.
Yeah, that those programs I wish would have took effect in the 70s, uh, because that's when 80s maybe is when a lot of the formalized training for flooring started to kind of fade away, and it started pretty slow, and then it seemed like all at once no manufacturers certify anymore. And all at once they're trying to work with the training organizations to find somebody to have an organization train on their particular products, and that's happening more and more. I think you can probably speak to it too, Daniel, that more manufacturers, they want to make sure people are trained, but they don't do it themselves for
Right.
various reasons, mainly risk and liability reasons. And so a training organization teaching not just on their product, but teaching, for example, if you're teaching a rubber installation uh, of regular vulcanized rubber flooring, well, that's like a Nora product and some of those. Well, their curriculum, or you could use Forbo and linoleum kind of stuff. Like if you train on the product, you're training on a lot of Forbo's product if you know how to personally train on, say, linoleum. And that's kind of seems to be where the manufacturers are going, is like
Right.
finding organizations to do it.
And it makes, a little bit of sense on why they're going away from the certification aspect, right? It's because when people look at it from coming from a manufacturer, what ends up happening is that they're like, okay, well, I'm going to this manufacturer. They should be teaching me everything I should know in these 2 days, and I should be able to do it. When a lot of it isn't that. It's just, I'm going to show you how to do it. It's on you in order to kind of put it into practice and then perfect it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I
and
wanna I wanna add to that what Daniel just said, and I'm gonna go to a comparison on sports, right? And I say this all the time to my son, my nephews, even my niece, even Daniel probably heard me say it. It's there's there's training, there's practice, and then there's the game, right? You train to learn the new techniques. You practice to hone those techniques. And then when it's game time, you implement those techniques to see what your outcome is going to be. And then what it does is what the game time is when you find out, oh, I still need more work on this. So what do? You hit the reset button, you go back to training, then
hmm
you go back to practice, then you go to game time, right? It's the same concept.
It's, I mean, it's just like anything else. Things evolve. Technology is in everything, whether you think about it or not. Adhesives have technology in them. It may not be electronic technology, but there's technology in adhesives, right? And that
hmm
technology changes, so you have to re up. And I'm going to pop this comment back up here from Jimmy. He says that uh, personally, leadership is harder. His personality, mastering the trade, and then because he's driven, he loves learning, take a pride in what he does. But getting guys to do it at that level is hard to pass on to another installer. But when you go to
Man,
these events like CFI and AFCT, you get that joy of passing that on to everyone that's there, because they're there to learn. They're not just
Hmm.
there to take the training because, oh, we're going to be installing this, so we have to sit through this class. It's, no, I'm going to go take this class because I want to further my education and be better at what I do.
Let's
Yeah,
face
that's
it.
the part that we have to continue to implement into the community as as often as we can, as advocates of installers, is continued education and continuously staying up on the forefront of training and getting those certifications and trainings, because they well, I read on one of the chats just a few minutes ago, I heard that it's pretty necessary. Yeah, he was being facetious. It's incredibly important that we're highly skilled in our field. Once people are able to tell you apart, and that's what the VTI is all about. So the verified trade index is meant for you to be able to tell installers apart and to separate you from just price only, being awarded projects on price only, right? When proof is void, price is the only thing left. Well, with the proof there, you're going to be consumers and people are going to be able to look at you versus others, and you want to present the best you. The best you is an educated, motivated installer,
Right.
and we've gotten to see those guys. Uh, just Tyler, one
Just
of our crew guys, went through your Hewell Flash Cove training, and the switch that does for some, it's something special just going to a training, especially a higher level one. It's just, I can't describe it. He's more motivated. He's like, you know all about, like, how do I get more trainings. He's asking financial questions on how to deal with certain things in his life financially, that where he can have the most impact, meaning setting up his business correctly,
That's
essentially.
awesome. Yeah,
And
Tyler's a
it's
good guy, man. He had some pretty good skills, and I think that is one of those things when you go to these classes, is sometimes, you think that you know a lot and you are humbled very quickly. I've been in that position, right, where it's like, I did not know as much as I thought I did, but then you start almost overthinking things at the same time, where it's like, just do what you do, man. Like, ask questions while you're doing it, but just do what you do. Don't try and change 100% of everything when you're doing it. And I just wanted to, Jorge said that 2 years ago, the three Migos started the training with Milliken, and now they're doing trainings with CFI, Taylor Adhesives. More will come because training is very necessary from what they tell me. And that's where you
yeah,
get
that's the one
that
I
from,
I
right?
read. Yeah.
And um, it's awesome. And when you go to one of these classes and you don't know what people know and what they don't, and then you start just putting stuff out there, and then to see them absorbing and then asking questions and then putting it into practice. Like, there was, in that same class with Tyler, there was a guy from a hospital, right, and he was like, I've been doing flooring for 10 years, but he works for the hospital now. And he was like, I've never really messed with any of this stuff, and I put him through everything. He came up to me and at the end, and he said, I just want to thank you, because he said, I know I'm not going to pass. Like, that's besides the point right now. He said, I know I'm not going to pass. He said, and if you come back down here, I'm going to take the whole class again because of everything that I've learned. And it's almost like a switch that you see within people, where it's like something turns on for them. And it's the same thing when you go to trade shows and stuff like that too, because you talk to other people that are in the same boat as you, doing the same things, and you can talk with like-minded people. And that's all it is just getting everyone together and knowing that we've all been through it.
Yeah, and the I was going to comment earlier when you said, you think you know a lot, and then you go to one of these trainings and you get humbled. I think even for me, even when I didn't know a lot and I go to a training, I knew I was out of my element and maybe going to something that was beyond me. But man, you know, like that's either way you go, a true training or a true certification, those things are gonna they will humble you a little bit, but it's also if you
Hmm.
love learning, and that's what I want, that's my dream for our whole business, our whole industry is that we get the installers to fall in love with learning again, that we fall in love with excellence. And if we can do that, then the training classes are full. There's opportunities for everybody, and the industry itself, you know, can start to shed an old image of uneducated, just wild men doing the floors. It takes a lot of technique and know-how to properly install a floor. But we've all lost jobs to guys who we knew were less, like we're not qualified at all, but they were $1,000 cheaper. Um, and that's heart wrenching for me. I
Yep.
remember those days when I was competing, and you know, I still compete, but it's different, being that in depending on public bid money, this kind of stuff. Sometimes they have no choice legally than to take the low bid. But from an installation, when I was installing and I was bidding work or trying to get work from stores, getting paid or getting beat or losing a job to somebody who was clearly less qualified than I was one of the things I just wanted to shout from the rooftops. And then I'd go back and have to fix their stuff. And no installer, I'm sure that we all have these kinds of stories, but nobody likes to do that. And the key is taking it to where it's not just price that makes the decision, that it's actually your expertise and your reputation come into play during the awarding of work or somebody choosing to use you. Um, yeah, so the first step is getting to trainings, getting that spark that I see in Tyler. It's not his first one, but it's one that he was further outside his element, and I think that it just sparked something in him. He wants, you know, he wants to make it happen.
He's a competitor, is what it is, right? And he found something that challenged him a little bit. And when you're a competitor and you strive to be better than you were the last go around, that's what you do. Is you challenge yourself, and that's what you said, that going to a training that is going to challenge you, or certification, that's what that does, is it reignites that fire that you have inside you as a competitor, even if it is with yourself. And that's a good feeling to have, and I like having that. I love that feeling, like just learning something new and trying to, you want to say master it, right? But you're never going to master it. That's the thing, you're never going to master it. You're going to get good, but you're never going
You
to
might
master
master
it.
it in a controlled area, but job
Right.
sites
When
have a
Yes.
way of throwing some curveballs at you, and different homes and different
Yeah, yeah.
substrates and different, all that different stuff has
and
a way of throwing those
the
curveballs at you.
the one thing I love is that we're now starting to get more like salespeople and project managers coming to these classes and getting some hands-on. Even if they don't get hands-on, at least they're in there. And it's like, you guys think that people are kidding when they're like, it's not, it doesn't pay enough until you see it done and done 100% right. When they're like, yeah, we definitely don't even allocate enough time for some of this. 'Cause I'm like,
Hmm.
sometimes just smoothing the weld itself and making it look so money takes longer than actually welding it.
Well, I can tell you, you know, that like if you don't pay as a store, that's why we pay like per running foot of cove. We don't just pay a flat way rate for sheet vinyl. If it's flash coved heat welded, we're gonna pay kind of by the component. So
Yeah, that's an
your
installer way
weld,
of looking at it,
then you
brother.
get paid by the foot on your cove, by the foot on your weld, by the boot on all the boots. So because like what you said, Daniel, just the first thing that popped into my head was like, man, boots can take some time. It totally depends on the type and the vinyl. But man, that is where the money. I mean, if you've ever walked with an architect on a big sheet vinyl job, they are walking from corner to corner. They know what usually turns out pretty rough on jobs. They were walking inside corners and boots. Did you caulk your inside corners or
Oh,
did you weld
dude.
them?
I just
Right?
had it. I just had a job where you said, no one likes going behind people, and um, we had to go behind some people and re-weld, and they're like, "Why is it? Why did it take you guys so long to re-weld the corners?" And it's like, I don't think you guys understand that things weren't done right from the ground up, so we had to deconstruct everything, make sure that there's body behind there, or else that we have nothing to stick to. On top of that, they did caulk the corners, and it wasn't just the inside corners, it was wherever they couldn't get the weld to stick. So it's like even on the outside corners, we have to go through and recut those and restick them, restick the insides, weld it again, smooth it. It's like it's a process. I mean, it was a long conversation on why things are the way they are.
But even when a boot is got the proper backing, you got a good substrate, you're going to weld pretty well. The install was done well, so the cove is tight to your stick. That's where I see a lot of problems when I go out. The cove's not tight. The vinyl is not actually tight to the cove stick. And then they try to weld there and it burns or it melts through. It looks like hell right at the curve. Most time it's because they don't have any backing there that you were talking about. And that making sure all that is there is time consuming. And it's probably the same if we were talking, if we had, you know, uh, Dave on here and talking about, putting together or any of the NAFC or yeah,
CFI.
CFI guys or the natural fiber guys, putting together those types of products to do it right. And I know for a fact on this one because I have installed some of these wools and did it wrong. Um, but to do it right, to put a regular seam together on a wool is or on a, a seagrass product or a sawgrass product like you are 10 times, almost maybe not 10 times, but you are significantly, maybe 10 times longer than
Right.
just burning
I,
a cut pile action back product.
Flat
that's
weave.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that
You're
kind of
accurate.
stuff, man. And those are products I don't even myself, I didn't install, but some of the wools I did. And I tell you what, I did it wrong and doing it right would have took twice as long, maybe 5 times as long, but I didn't know any better. So,
Yeah, sometimes
that's why I say go get trained.
doing it the fast way isn't always the best way, right? Like time is money, right? But long term time costs money if you're not doing it right, taking shortcuts, missing steps. But that's what you just everything you guys are saying right now still goes back to the point of the topic today is there's a place for everything. Everything that you learn can be applied to another part of the industry, whether it's helping office staff grow, sales staff grow, using your installation abilities to go and project manage, to be a site super. Like it goes a lot, like everything goes together and it helps with
It's
the progression of your
transferable.
career. Yeah.
Yeah, if
And
you approach it right and you get that training and those certifications and you're really approaching your craft correctly, I mean, it's transferable over to so many other things. And yes, this podcast is all about how you take those skills with you and apply them in an office setting of some sort. We say the boardroom only because when you're thinking like a Shaw, Mohawk, these big, but you can continue to climb. There's plenty of ex
Yeah.
installers that are executives at companies or started their own manufacturing. Like that's out there. Just dream big, take your craft freaking serious, get really good at it, and you're gonna have opportunity for the rest of your life, even when you're done or you decide to be done with installing.
Yeah, and I think what people need to realize is that when you're first starting out, your value comes from your skill, right? So learn as much as you can with your hands, be the best. And then once you get to a certain point, your value now comes from having other people perform.
Yeah, I read that in one of the comments. Like one of the big values they see is, like how to say it was like the trainings are like rejuvenating for him to see other people taking knowledge and applying it and getting better. I kind of
And I
paraphrased it,
mean,
but
I don't know if you guys ever listen to like Gary Vee or anything, but you know, every time he talks about it, he's like, they ask him about the people that work for him, and he's like, no one works for me, I work for them. And when you put it that way, it kind of puts it into perspective where it's like, yeah, I am here in order to put all this work in front of you and make you the best that you can be. So at some point, you don't have to be there anymore and can do the same thing with someone else.
hmm yeah, I mean, I think what you talked about there with Gary Vee is really harkens back to what we said earlier, where you're juggling all these balls and you have these kind of uh, this heavy responsive feeling of responsibility for others. That is when you are an owner and you have multiple people depending on you. So it's uh, it's important that we all really grab the cusp of it. It's about excellence, and then opportunities will open up to you in so many different ways. So that's really one thing I would love to leave the industry with is this revived desire for excellence.
And earlier you talked about meeting up and getting with everyone over at like these conventions or certifications. And the reason why everyone enjoys it so much because that's where all the people who have drive go. I know some people go there because they're asked to go there to get training or certified, but you had mentioned that your guy had kind of like rejuvenated his want to learn and be better, and that's just what it does. You get put in a place where you have people who, in their group setting at home, they might be looked at as overachievers or high achievers or do way too much. But when you put them all together, it almost feels like we're not doing enough. Still not doing enough, no matter how much we do. And it, those are my people. That's my crowd. We're still not
hmm
doing enough, guys. Right? Like, man, I can't possibly fit anything more into my day. I'm still not doing enough. What can I do to do
Well,
more and strive to be better, a better person for tomorrow?
well, Rollins a great example of what I'm
Oh,
about to say, which is what I said earlier, which is a motivated, educated installer. Like you become a motivated, educated installer, and you have opportunity. Opportunity is there for you, and whether that's in any of the outlets, which we didn't even discuss all of them, but any of the outlets we did discuss on taking your skill to the next level, um, you know, it takes education and dedication and this motivation to take that next step, whether it's in the field, going to be a tech rep, being a sales rep, being a salesperson for a flooring company, you know, launching your own subcontracting crew and running a group of guys or whatever that is for you, it takes dedication, education, and motivation. And that you form those three skills or habits or whatever you want to call them, that goes forever. That's with you forever. So that's part of what this do it right in the field. I'm sure you guys have heard this saying, and my dad used to say it to me when I was a kid: "Is anything worth doing is worth doing right." And that I've always kind of carried that, and I think it applies more so now to our trade than well in the last 10 years than ever, 10, 15 years maybe. But anything worth doing is worth doing right. Well, you got to know what right is. That means you have to get trained. You got to know what right is. And so I encourage you all, as I always do, and the guys always do, we are unified in our desire for our industry to be more highly trained and more highly respected.
Yeah, so Romero says that you can position yourself to perform the best. He started splitting what he calls splitting, creating roles in his company a couple years ago. And again, go like I didn't come from a leadership background, right? So I try and do whatever I can in order to make up that void. And it's listening to audiobooks and who I think is a good leader, and that's what everyone says. It's you need to set yourself up and create these things, even if it's one person running everything, because eventually you got to start delegating because you can't do
Hmm.
100% of everything as a leader.
Yeah, and if you're really wanting to have this big rewarding career, whatever that looks like, you're never going to stop learning. I can tell
Yeah.
you, $1 million a year revenue, Paul, is was not the
Work
same
probably
that it took for a $5 million revenue, Paul, and so on and so on. Like as you grow, you have to gain new skill. Frickin' master this skill first. Master the skill of learning. Do that. This other stuff you fall in love with learning, you'll all this stuff comes easier because it doesn't look like such a burden. You know, I constantly, I'm trying to take our company to the next level. I have been deep dive into how systems and AI and how these new things work together with old thought processes. Like that's all learning. It doesn't someone, you don't just get it. You got to go dig and find and work for it. And you as an installer, dig, find, and work for the trainings and certifications, and get connected to the industry, and keep being a positive force for other installers. Teach what you know. Rollin's a great example of this. This guy is one of the guys that I really admire for his dedication to teaching others. And those he only is in that position or any of the positions he's been in because you look at his wall, you see a guy dedicated to education, dedicated to learning.
He's dedicated
yeah.
to the craft, the industry and the craft. And he's a great teacher, dude. He is
Yeah.
phenomenal at what he does.
And like
Well,
you
with
said, if he's the smartest person in the room, he's in the wrong room, right?
yep,
And
it's
then
a
I
great
do want to
saying.
just shout out to Jorge because he's got his workroom opening up, and he's already got scheduled to host chapter meetings over there. So we're super proud of
Hey
what you got
man,
going
that's
on,
awesome,
Jorge.
brother. That is awesome.
So if
That's
you're
another
in
guy.
over in the San Antonio area, get a hold of Jorge, so that way you can be there when these chapter
Yeah.
meetings start happening.
Yeah, get involved in the local chapter. We probably don't talk about it enough, but getting involved in those kind of things is another good way to get your foot into the industry and start to get to know some of the people who are really taking it serious. So if you got a local chapter, you should connect with them. If you and next week, Rollin ought to put up the where all the local chapters are. I bet he's already talking about them right now. It's but yeah, so if there is a local chapter in your area, I'd get involved because getting involved in your local guys that are trying to do the 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 craft the right way, that those are good people. With that, you guys got anything to close this out? A little word to the wise, a little wisdom.
Uh, I'm free. Mine's freezing, so I don't even know if you can hear me. So I'm just gonna say, just keep working at being better.
There you go. Up on the screen, there's a QR code. You should hit that up. Go check out Trade Tap. Check out the VTI. Learn how. We'll have a video coming out here in the next couple weeks. We'll play on the Huddle. Show you how to really leverage your profile to win more work, get paid more, and get tied into other opportunities tie into training and education. So with that, guys, we want to ask you to do us a quick favor. We don't ask you for much, but a like and a subscribe would be payment enough for the time we invest on the podcast. We really enjoy doing this, but we can only do it if you guys engage with us. So, if you're catching us on Facebook or any of the platforms that Daniel mentioned earlier, from LinkedIn to Facebook to Spotify, any of them, give us some love, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and let's keep pushing this thing down the road, and we will see you guys next week.